जय कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनातीरवनचारि। यमुनातीरवनचारि। जय राधमाधव जय कुंज बिहारी। जय राधमाधव जय कुंज बिहारी। गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। गोपी जनवल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यमुनातीरवनचारि। यमुनातीरवनचारि। जय राधमाधव जय कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Canto 3 of the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, chapter 11, which is entitled Calculation of Time from the Atom, and verse number 14. Samvatsara parivatsara ida vatsara evacha anuvatsaro vatsarascha vidurevaram prabhashyate samvatsara parivatsara ida vatsara evacha Anuvatsaro vatsarascha Vidurevram prabhashyate Samvatsara parivatsara Ida vatsara evacha Anuvatsaro vatsarascha Vidurevram prabhashyate. Prabhus? And you know? Ladies? Samvatsara parivatsara Samvatsara evacha Vatsarascha Vidurevam prabhashyate Samvatsara parivatsara Vatsara evacha Anuvatsaro vatsarascha Vidurevam prabhashyate Samvatsara parivatsara Word for word translation. Samvatsara, orbit of the sun. Parivatsara, circumambulation of Brihaspati. Idavatsara, orbit of the stars. Eva, as they are. Cha, also. Anuvatsara, orbit of the moon. Vatsara, one calendar year. Cha, also. Vidura, O Vidura. Evam, thus. Prabhashyate, they are so told. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. There are 5 different names for the orbits of the sun, moon, stars, and luminaries in the firmament, and they each have their own samvatsara. If you'd like to repeat after me. There are 5 different names for the orbits of the sun, moon, stars, and luminaries in the firmament, and they each have their own samvatsara. Purport. The subject matters of physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, time and space dealt with in the above verses of Śrimad Bhāgavatam are certainly very interesting to students of the particular subject. But as far as we are concerned, we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge. The subject is summarized by the statement that above all the different branches of knowledge is the supreme control of Kala, the plenary representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing exists without Him, and therefore everything, however wonderful it may appear to our meager knowledge, is but the work of the magical wand of the Supreme Lord. As far as time is concerned, we beg to subjoin herewith a table of timings in terms of the modern clock. One Thruti is 8 of 13,500 seconds. 1 Veda is 8 of 135. 1 lava is 8 over 45. 1 nimesha is 8 over 15. 1 shana is 8 over 5. 1 kashta is 8 seconds. 1 lagu is 2 minutes. 1 danda is 30 minutes. 1 prahar is 3 hours. 1 day is 12 hours. 1 night is 12 hours. 1 paksha is 15 days. 2 pakshas comprise 1 month, and 12 months comprise 1 calendar year, or 1 full orbit of the sun. A human being is expected to live up to 100 years. That is the way of the controlling measure of eternal time. The Brahma Samhita 552 affirms this control in this way. Yachakshurisha savita sakalagrahanam raja samasta suramurtir ashesha teja yasyagnaya brahmati sambrita kala chakra govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahmayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhyubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Kaliti Vachalam. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for engaging in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, which is all auspicious and actually the crest jewel of all Krishna consciousness when you think about it. And it's amazing that we are all gathered together to read Canto 3, Chapter 15, which is the calculations of time, which everybody understands so well. Sometimes when we go through very technical, very difficult chapters or verses in the Śrimad Bhāgavatam, we can get lost in terms of what's actually happening in the Bhāgavatam. So I thought we can do a quick summary. So where are we? So Vidura has left Hastinapur. He left Hastinapur where he resided with the Pandavas, with Dhritarashtra, with the Kauravas, because of one specific incident that happened, and that is that Vidura was trying to encourage Dhritarashtra, give some land to the Pandavas, because they're rightful heirs of the kingdom. Give them back the kingdom. But then Duryodhana's like, no, you don't even deserve to be here, you should be kicked out of the kingdom. In fact, you should be killed, but because you're a relative, we're just going to kick you out of the kingdom. And so Vidura is like, okay, he packs his bags and he's ready to leave because of the offense of Duryodhana. And when he leaves, he basically goes on pilgrimage. And as he's going on pilgrimage, he meets 2 personalities specifically. One personality is Uddhava. So the first personality he meets is Uddhava, and there we hear such an amazing discourse of Krishna Katha. We hear how we heard the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, we heard the pastimes of Krishna outside of Vrindavan, and then Vidura, because he's such a pure devotee, because he's so in tune with hearing Krishna Katha, he's like, tell me more, tell me more. And what does Uddhava say? I can't tell you more. You should go to Maitreya Muni. Because Maitreya Muni, he had the same knowledge, but he's older than me, he's more qualified than me. And so Uddhava's taking that humble position and saying, please go to Maitreya Muni, he can impart more knowledge to you. And when Vidura goes to Maitreya Muni starts talking about the deep rasa, the rasa pastimes of Krishna. No, he starts talking about the creation. He starts talking about Sarga, the primary creation of the Lord. How Mahavishnu comes, how Grabhadakshaya Vishnu comes, how all these Vishnu comes and creates the whole universe. And then how from the navel, as we can see in the picture at the back, from the navel of Grabhadakshaya Vishnu comes a lotus stem, and on top of that lotus stem comes Lord Brahma. And then we hear about how Lord Brahma is giving so many prayers to the Supreme Lord. He's praying in so many different ways because he's praying for the creative energy. He's praying that, please, my Lord, empower me so that I can serve you by populating the universe, by engineering the universe and populating the universe. And we hear, not in this section, but in Canto 2, we heard it in 4 verses, 4 seed verses, but in Canto 3, we hear a much more elaborate version of it. And then we come to the chapter 15, calculation of time from the atom. And here it's actually pretty amazing because what we hear in the verses leading up to this, what we see and hear is the progression of time from the minute atom, from the smallest measurement of time up to the largest measurement of time, like the cycle of the sun, the moon, the planets, etc. And I was reflecting on this, and okay, there's the literal element, right? There's the literal element, which I take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's purport when he stays at the beginning. The subject matters of physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, time and space dealt with in the above verses of Śrimad Bhāgavatam are certainly very interesting to students of the particular subject, but as far as we are concerned, we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge. So I take shelter of the purport there and, don't endeavor to try and explain these things. But it's amazing because when we look at the progression of time from the smallest entity to the largest, we see that, isn't that what the Bhagavatam is doing? It's taking us from the small consciousness, material consciousness we have, and progressively taking us to Canto 10, where our consciousness expands, because now we've entered Krishna's world. And so I was thinking that's such a nice progression of time, that one aspect of time that we can see is in that way. And in Canto 2, chapter 3, verse 17, we hear the verse, both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Time is going to flow. Time is going to keep moving. But for a devotee, the time does not affect us. And so I was thinking it was such a nice reflection. And then I was also thinking, why on earth do we have all of this creation and time and this, that, and then Canto 5 goes into a whole different level? Why do we have that? And literally as I was coming in and I was just hanging around in the reception area, I was looking at the photos that we have. I don't know if anybody's seen all the photos in the reception area, but just above the counter there's a photo of Srila Prabhupada with a quote on there. Has anybody read that quote? Highly encourage going to read it, but I'll read it out. So this is Srila Prabhupada giving, it's actually, I think it's a letter. It might be from a lecture. Somebody can check. So we request everyone to become devotee and Krishna conscious, so that you will find everywhere the artistic work of Krishna. Everywhere, sarvatra spuraya tara ishta deva murti. CC Madhya 8-272. We see that in this canto, Canto 3, we start off talking about creation and everything in the universe, and we talk about time. And here, Srila Prabhupada's saying that to become Krishna conscious, he wants everybody to become Krishna conscious so that we can see Krishna everywhere, the artistic work of Krishna everywhere, in the universe, in the Bhagavatam, in our life, and everywhere. And isn't that what the Bhagavatam is trying to do, trying to invite Krishna into our heart and our minds? And so, as I take shelter of Prabhupada's purport that says, that we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge, I'm not going to try and explain the technical details. But time is a very interesting thing, because when we have fun, we often say time has flown by, right? Time flies by when we have fun. And when I read this section of the Bhagavatam, because of my own conditioning, I can say time doesn't fly, because it's a very difficult section for me. But it's very interesting because two people can be in the same place, experiencing the same thing, engaged in the same activity, but experience the passage of time in different ways. One person will be feeling like, yes, I'm really excited, really enjoying this, and time flies. But another will be feeling like, oh my gosh, why did I choose to come here? I came because of my friend, I'm like absolutely distraught, such a difficulty, I'm having such a miserable time. And for them, 1 hour has passed by, but they feel like, oh my gosh, 5 hours have gone by. And so this concept of time is really interesting. And when we're on the streets, we often hear this phrase, right? Sorry, I'm too busy. I don't have any time. And then we know of Prabhupada's Back to Godhead article magazine, or the article that's entitled, No Time, a chronic disease of the common man. But we all have 60 seconds in a minute. We all have 60 minutes in an hour. We all have 24 hours in a day. And yet some people manage to do more with their time than others. How does that work? If we all have the same amount of time, how is it that some people have more time to do things and others don't? In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada describes the word samvatsara, which in this verse is described as the orbit of the sun. In some verses, or some purports, he describes it as the passage or the progress of time. And what we see in this verse is that the sun, the moon, the luminaries, and all these different objects in the sky have their own passage of time. But so do we. We have our own passage of time too. Now we could say that it's okay, in the purpose Srila Prabhupada talks about, the scriptures talk about how every living entity lives for 100 years. But what is that 100 years? We see some people die at 50, we see some people die at 25, we see some people die within 1 minute of being born. So we all have an individual progress of time too. And when I think of time, because my mind works in a very different way, I don't just look at time and go, okay, the clock is ticking 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. For me, I'm thinking, we have two types of time. One type of time, and I'm not talking analog and digital here, by the way. I'm talking, one type of time is external time, the external clock. The seconds going by, the minutes going by. How we're engaging our body, our mind, our words in that external time. And we know, okay, we've got a certain capacity, we've got a certain amount of time, 24 hours in a day, we all have a certain capacity. Based on our own conditioning, based on our own natures, we're able to accomplish so many things in that 24 hours in the day. And as devotees, Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Bhakti, or devotional service, we try to engage ourselves, our senses, our mind, in devotional service to who? To Krishna, to the master of the senses. Because that's our endeavor as devotees. But sometimes, and we may have spoken to people, we may ourselves feel this, that sometimes we may be a devotee for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and feel like, yeah, I'm making progress because I'm engaged in the process, and we are making progress. But then we'll feel, I'm not making as much progress as I could. I feel like I'm following the process perfectly. I'm waking up early, I'm chanting my rounds in the morning, I'm coming to Mangalarti, I'm doing the morning program, I'm listening to Bhagavatam class, or at least I'm attending Bhagavatam class. And then it's like, I'm not making progress. I'm not going far in my devotion. Something's missing. And that brings us to the internal clock, which is the time that we engage our heart. The external time is how we're engaging our body, our mind, our words. But the internal clock is about the time we're utilizing in terms of the engagement of the heart. Because we all have experienced or have seen this. The internal clock, we don't actually experience time passing by. We experience what we're attentive to in that time. Two people, I gave this example with Bhagavata life actually. If two brand new people came to the temple, they came for the morning 7 o'clock darshanarti, or they came for the 12 o'clock or 12:30 arti. Two people come, the temple room is packed, devotees are dancing, everybody's enjoying, everybody's in bliss. The deities are looking so magnanimous, and yet they can have two totally different experiences. One could come and feel, oh my gosh, it is such an enlivening place. Everybody's dancing, everybody's singing, everybody's happy, everybody's looking at the deities which look so beautiful. And then afterwards there's such an amazing offering of prasadam that we all get to enjoy and indulge in. And they're like blissed out. But then the second person could be coming in and going like, oh my gosh, what is this? Everybody's just jumping around, pushing each other. I don't even get space to stand. I don't even get space to I'm trying to see the deities, but I don't even get to go to the front because everybody's pushing me so much and everybody's in the way. I can't even see the deities properly. And prasadam, same thing every day, khichdi. Oh my gosh, like such a miserable time. The same activity, the same time is passing by, but the two people are experiencing time in a different way because they're not experiencing the passage of time. They're experiencing what they're attentive to in that time. The first person's attentive to the bliss, to the joy, to the experience, to the relationship with Krishna, whereas the other person is busy engaging their attentiveness, their mind and their heart in paraphrased terms, fault finding, and finding all the problems that are happening in life and in the situation. And we see that actually attentiveness is such a key thing to our spiritual journey, because all of us are sitting in Bhagavatam class. But have you noticed that if you, and I highly encourage doing this, when you go out of Bhagavatam class, discuss with 1, 2, 3 people about what did they take away from class, and everybody will have something different. Okay, part of that is because something different is resonating with everyone, right? What's resonating with Karan is going to be different to what's resonating with Surabi, it's different to what's resonating with Samantha, it's different to what's resonating with Brahmagrana Prabhu, it's different. But the other part to it is, where's our attention during the class? If we're feeling hungry and our intention, our desire is more oriented around satisfying that hunger, where's our attention going to be whilst we're sitting in Bhagavatam class? To the stomach, to the clock, waiting, okay, right? I want to be the first in queue for prasadam. So I want to make sure that as soon as the clock hit, I don't know what time, 8:45 or 9? 8:30, okay. He's aware. As soon as the clock hits 8:30, I'm ready. I'm ready to run faster than Usain Bolt to the prasadam queue. If we're feeling sleepy in class, and our intention, our desire is, okay, by hook or by crook, I don't want to be the one who looks like I'm falling asleep, so I want to stay awake, then what's our attention going to go to? Somehow distracting ourselves from falling asleep. If the Bhagavatam class isn't enlivening enough, then maybe our phones, maybe fidgeting. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Gaur Nitai Ki. So if we're feeling sleepy, then our attention is going to go to all these different distractions available to us at our fingertips, literally at our fingertips, in order to keep ourselves awake. But if we're interested in really developing and deepening our relationship with Krishna, and that intention is stronger than any of the other intentions we've got, then the chances are that we're going to be so tuned into the Bhagavatam class that it doesn't matter who's giving Bhagavatam class, but we're going to be attentive to what Vyasadeva is speaking through that person. It's not the person speaking, it's what is Vyasadeva telling us in that moment, in that class. And that's what we'll be in tune with. Or take another classic example that we all, or at least I have challenges with. The dreaded japa. If our intention during the japa, or during our mantra chanting, mantra meditation, is to get through the rounds, it's just, okay, I need to get through one round at least before Bhagavatam class, before Prasadam, one round. Then is our attention going to be in the chanting, or is our attention going to be in all the distractions available as long as we get that round done? We'll be looking around, window shopping everywhere, we'll be distracted by everything, and what does that end up doing to our chanting? Our chanting becomes inaudible, we can't even hear it, and even if we can hear it, it's like we can't even hear the mantra properly. Sometimes we even skip syllables because we're not attentive to the round. But imagine if our intention during the chanting is to focus on deepening our relationship with Krishna. Then even when the mind is distracted, the intention brings back the attention. Because even though the mind's business is to wander, that intention is going to bring back the attention. And so, isn't that the process of sadhana bhakti, right? The process is to bring intention to what we're doing. Srila Prabhupada often talks about be conscious before being Krishna conscious. What is that? What does that mean? It means to be conscious of what we're doing now, our actions, our thoughts, our feelings. Doing everything we can right now to be present in the moment. To put aside the trawling through the past, to put aside the planning for the future, and to just be present in what we're doing right now. And that is what sadhana bhakti is. It's using our external time to develop that internal transformation so that our internal time ticks along at pace, nicely in Krishna's service. Because, okay, how do we generally define sadhana bhakti? Just in general, not a trick question. Using our senses in Krishna service. This idea of practicing some sort of discipline or some sort of process to serve Krishna. But in some of the purports, when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, then you see that he talks about how that sadhana bhakti is meant to lead to a change of heart. Because in one of the verses it's described that if your heart doesn't change, then your heart is steel-framed. Because the process of bhakti is meant to change our heart. It's meant to make us realize that we are servants of Krishna. In purport to that verse of steel-frame heart, which is Canto 2, chapter 3, verse 34, and the purport Srila Prabhupada says, the whole process of spiritual culture is aimed at changing the heart of the living being in the matter of his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord as subordinate servant, which is his eternal constitutional position. Unquote. So the process of bhakti is meant to change and transform our heart, which means that we have to go from just doing all the external activities of service and bring it into the heart to actually transform the heart and move the internal clock in our devotional service. Make that time go faster. Because we're busy in so many things in the world, right? Some of us will be grahastas, we have work, we have family, we have kids. Those living in the temple have different temple services to engage in, and sometimes they're not the best, sometimes we don't like to do them. But what we have to look at is, okay, we've got all these duties, all these responsibilities to be engaged in, but how can we maximize the internal time with Krishna? Because the external time, we've all got 24 hours. We're all using that 24 hours in whatever way capacity we can to serve Krishna. But how can we maximize the internal time to serve Krishna? And that's by bringing our attention to Krishna. But our attention is closely coupled with our intention. The intention we carry guides our attention. And if our intention, if we have spiritual intention, then that will guide our attention to empower our transformation in service. Because, I mean, one way we can see it is that, going back to the example of, okay, if we're in Bhagavatam class, what's our intention? Where is our desire sitting? If our desire is sitting that we want to satisfy the hunger, then we're going to be focused on, okay, 8:30, get out of here. But if our intention is expanded like what the verses are doing by taking us slowly through the increments of time from the atom, from the smallest measurement to the largest measurement of time, and in that way we expand our focus, our attention and our intention to serve Krishna, then that internal transformation where we focus on Krishna comes very naturally. And when we talk about intention, because naturally the question was, well, how do I increase my intention to serve Krishna? Well, throughout the Bhagavatam, throughout the different scriptures, throughout Srila Prabhupada's lectures and purports, we constantly hear again and again, hearing and chanting is the basic principle, right? Hear and chant about Krishna, and the attraction to Krishna comes, and therefore the intention to serve Krishna comes. But we all are here because we have an intention to serve Krishna. We have an intention to some degree, have an inclination in our spiritual life. So the question isn't, do we have the intention? The question is our intention aligned, our attention aligned with our intention? Is what we're focused on during the day aligned to that intention of serving Krishna? And one very powerful thing that I'm trying to learn and apply in my own life is, what can I do to serve Krishna right now? Just asking that simple question. What can I do to serve Krishna right now? Because that's the intention, right? The intention is we want to serve Krishna. But by asking that question, we're bringing our attention to, how do I serve Krishna right now? Sometimes we're at home, and for those who have kids, young kids, you're like, in the morning, you're frantically trying to help them get ready because they're getting late to go to school, and they're like throwing the toys out of the pram. I don't want to go to school. It's boring. I'm like, so many different things come up. But we can ask ourselves then, how can I serve Krishna right now? And what that question does is it brings all of the hearing that we're doing, all of the chanting we're doing, all the purification that we're experiencing through the mercy available around us, and puts it into action, it puts it into practice. Because the goal of our hearing and chanting is to apply ourselves in devotional service, and that isn't just to engage in practices of service, but it's to engage the heart in that service too. And so in that moment of trying to get your kids ready for school, when you're asking that question, what can I do to serve Krishna right now? Through all the hearing and chanting, we can see and understand, what is Krishna trying to teach me in that situation? Or something that I can actually relate to, because I don't have kids. What can I actually relate to is, the boss is angry at work. Right? Some people have had experience with that. You go to the office, your boss is having a bad day, and he's just blasting at you. What, you did this wrong, you didn't do that, you didn't. And in our, in quotes, innocent mind, we can be like, why is he angry at me? Like, I haven't done anything wrong. But we can ask the question, what can I do to serve Krishna right now? And what that can do is expand our consciousness to go like, okay, he's a spirit soul. Maybe he's going through something. Maybe there's something going on and he just needs that touch of love from Krishna. And then we can see that, okay, my service to Krishna then could just be being an instrument of love for that manager who's having a bad day. And like this, so many situations come up that where we're not directly engaged in service, but just that one question can change and transform our heart, because our intention is to serve Krishna, but through the day we're engaged in so many things that feels like we're not engaged in service to Krishna. But just by bringing our intention and aligning our attention to that intention, then we can see that, okay, how can I use my internal clock to serve Krishna when my external clock seems to be passing by in things that are not supposedly or apparently engaged in serving Krishna? And what we see is that when we focus, when we give our time to Krishna in that way, not just our external time, but our heart and our internal time, our internal focus and attention as well, then Krishna empowers that transformation in our lives. His mercy comes. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, and I always for some reason forget this verse, and I don't know why. Bhagavad Gita 10:10. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Quote, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Unquote. To those who are constantly engaged in serving me with love. It's not just engaging in the service, but it's engaging our internal clock, the heart in that service too. And so what we see is that through this section of the passage of time, yes, there's the literal element where we're talking about the different measurements of time and how time exists in the universe. But what we can see is look at the internal meaning behind that too, which is how that passage of time is affecting us in our life. Our time is going by externally because, yes, one of the first verses I called out is how time doesn't affect a devotee. But externally we still grow old, right? We still grow gray hair. We still lose our hair. We still grow wrinkles on our skin. I don't know if that's growing wrinkles, but anyway. We still get wrinkles on our skin. And then ultimately we still leave our body. So the external time is still going to pass. But the internal time for a devotee doesn't pass because we're always focused on Krishna. Because our attention is aligned to our intention. Because we have that spiritual intention which guides our attention, it empowers our transformation. And so just consistently, right? That one question I spoke about, try it, right? What can I do to serve Krishna right now? Maybe moment to moment it's difficult, but what can I serve Krishna, or how can I serve you, Krishna, today? First thing we wake up in the morning, how am I going to serve Krishna today? And then every hour, how can I serve Krishna in that 1 hour? And it might be, okay, this hour between the end of Tulsi Puja and the start of Guru Puja, chanting time. Okay, I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to focus on my chanting in that time. And then from each hour, each situation, this devotee has come up to me and has just blasted me in the face. How can I serve Krishna in that situation? And then moment to moment, how can I serve Krishna right now? And that question can really empower our transformation, because that consistent endeavor, Krishna gets attracted to that. And I'll end on this story of Garuda and a sparrow. Has anybody heard this story before? Garuda and a sparrow? So there was once a sparrow, a small sparrow who had many, many eggs. And naturally, what's going to happen with the eggs, right? The sparrow is going to look after the eggs because eventually there's going to be chicks that come out of the egg, baby birds. And these eggs, the sparrow had basically put them on the shore of the ocean, and the ocean has swept them away. And so now all these eggs are inside the ocean, and the sparrow is speaking to the ocean like, please give me back my eggs. My eggs, my little baby, like my babies are going to come out of those eggs. Please give them back. But the ocean just didn't respond. The ocean just, I don't know if you've ever tried speaking to the ocean, but it's definitely not responded to me. Maybe in the transcendental world, maybe. But the ocean just didn't respond. And so the sparrow was determined, okay, the ocean isn't giving back my eggs. I am gonna dry up the ocean. And so the sparrow started its impossible mission of using its beak to suck up some of the water and put it somewhere else, or just drink it, right? Just take some water, put it. How long is that gonna take? Like, that would take ages, even if it was just a cup of water for the sparrow, let alone an ocean. And everybody was laughing, like, what is this sparrow doing? Right? It's never going to achieve its goal. Like, imagine a sparrow's beak, right? It's tiny, small, trying to dry up the whole ocean. But at some point, Garuda found out. And Garuda is like the big uncle of all the birds, the eagle. And Garuda found out, and it was like, oh my gosh, my little baby sister, brother, whatever you want to say, is on this endeavor? Like, let me go and check it out. Let me go check the scene out. So Garuda comes and see this sparrow with determination, with conviction, with his intention of drying up the ocean to get the eggs, aligned with the attention of actually focusing on doing the task. And when Garuda sees the sparrow doing this, what does Garuda do? Speaks to the ocean, goes, look, you better give the eggs back to the sparrow, because the sparrow is doing this tiny, tiny thing at a time. But if you don't give the eggs back, I myself will take up the task of drying you up. And so Garuda, being one of the greatest devotees of the Lord, seeing the determination, the endeavor of the sparrow, imparts its mercy, showers its unconditional mercy on the sparrow to say, look, I'm seeing your determination, I'm seeing that your intention and your attention are aligned. I'm going to help you out. And so why would Krishna not help us out? If our intention is to serve Krishna and we're aligning our attention to that intention, then why would Krishna not empower our transformation? And so I'll end there by saying the samvatsara, the passage of time, affects all of us. Passage of time is affected us externally by the clocking the time of Bhagavatam class coming to an end. But our internal time can continue on by always asking that question, what can I do to serve Krishna right now? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments, corrections? Anybody with a technical mind that would like to explain the verse? Subhadra, does anybody have a mic?
Hare Krishna, thank you for your nice class. I just had a thought that, because you're saying we should always remember how can we serve Krishna. But I was thinking that often we don't need to actually do anything. We just need to remember Krishna, it's just our attitude. So I was thinking maybe we could think like, what can I do now to please Krishna? Like, what attitude or what should I just, do to please Krishna?
Yeah, I really like that. Sometimes it's not about doing something without external time. It's about just pleasing Krishna by being happy in our relationship with Krishna. We know Jiva Swarupa Krishna Niti Das, that we're all eternal servants of Krishna. And part of that service to Krishna is just to relish our connection with Krishna and to please him. So yeah, thank you for that point. Brojan Prabhu? Mike? What can I do to please Krishna's devotees? And my spiritual master, especially our spiritual master. Yes. Thank you, Brojan Prabhu. Anybody else? Yes. Just take the mic. So your name is Prabhu? Lucas.
Hare Krishna. I just think it's interesting to mention that throughout the Bhagavatam, different like relative perspectives are given on like the solar system. For example, like here it's speaking about the orbit of the stars, And in different parts of the Bhagavatam, a more like geocentric view is given from the conception that like with the earth at the center and how things orbit around that, but in different parts, a more heliocentric perspective is given with the sun at the center. So here when it's speaking about like the orbits of the stars, it's all like relative to how the earth is orbiting as well. I don't know so much about it, but yeah, it's interesting. Sadhaputta Prabhu has a lot of work in that direction. He's a physicist, so yeah, I just thought it was interesting to mention. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And yeah, it's true. Like all the different parts of the Bhagavatam, we see different angles of vision. Srila Prabhupada would often say that we should approach the scriptures from different angles of vision. We see the Bhagavatam itself, as you mentioned, is doing that itself as well. So yeah, that's a nice point. Thank you for sharing with us. Anybody else? Okay, we shall end there. Grantharaj Śrimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam